So for a while, I've been wanting to share this story with you on my channel, and I've had quite a few people, both friends and family, have requested me to make this video over the years, and they're surprised that I haven't made a video like this yet. And reason for that is because I just didn't really know how to tell it yet, or how to tell the story on YouTube, because there can be so many ways of doing it now. And well, being that I don't really have too many photos or anything really to, like, any props or anything to show you guys, I'm just gonna straight tell you the story about what happened with my back and my story, and how I almost died. So basically, it all started, I think, easily back in the early 2000s. I'm not sure what year, so please forgive me. I'll give you a time frame when I know, but it basically happened in the early 2000s when I was like 9 years old. I was born with I was born with congenital myopathy, but I was also born with a spine problem. And that spinal problem, basically, I was born with my spine in like a question mark shaped, and it was really bad, really crooked, and my doctors told me that the younger I am, the easier it is for me going to be able to take the surgery and heal from it. So I did. Anyway, they did the surgery. Surgery was called a spinal fusion, and everything was supposed to go okay, and everything did go okay. But what happened was, about almost 4 years later, the hardware that was supporting my spine, because I have 2 rods going on the same sides, on both sides of my spine, and then wires going across. It's hard to show you guys or tell you guys without showing an x-ray, and I couldn't find the x-ray for this video, but there's wires going across to hold the bars together across my spine, and then there's bolts holding those wires in place, and they were supposed to fuse, which unfortunately, for the first time around, it did not fuse. And part of my spine, or part of the hardware, or I should say, sorry, one of the rods came loose, broke free, and started going downward toward my pelvis area. And make a long story short, that ended up protruding out of me, and I ended up having to go, I was rushed to the emergency room, and I got that surgically removed. Funny enough, that rod that came out of me is now in a Ripley's magazine, or a Ripley's museum in Korea, out of all places. That's a whole nother story altogether. If you want to know about that story, let me know. But anyway, so with that being said, of course, now that, I'm missing a rod, I have to get new hardware, right? So soon after that, I don't remember how long it was, but soon after that, it's probably a few months or whatever, not even, I go back in under the needle, or under the knife, and surgery itself went good, them installing the hardware. But it was soon after, in recovery mode, that there was a massive problem. And I guess what happened was, part of I'm not sure if it was part of the hardware, or if it was one of the tools that they were using to fix my back, or to put the new hardware in. It wasn't sterile the way it should have been. And with that being said, it ended up giving me hospital MRSA, which is very deadly, and a lot of people have died from it. You know, all ages, kids, adults, don't matter. It's very deadly. So, and this is me at like 11 years old now, and it became very bad. I was basically on my deathbed, like, you know, as much as I don't want to say it, I was on my deathbed. The doctor even came in, letting me know that, you know, this is not looking good. My body was fighting the infection really bad. It was, for a while, it was an uphill battle. I was really sick. My temperature was always high. I didn't feel good for weeks. Everything, it was just really bad. Yeah, and I was super, super skinny too. Like, it was just a really bad situation. And, yeah, for a few months I was like that, fighting, and while I was fighting the infection, they were having to do these back dressing changes on me, which that was probably, I'd say it was probably the most painful thing physically that I have and probably will ever go through in my entire life. It hurts so bad. And I think that's why I have such a big pain tolerance nowadays. And, like, say for instance, like, getting like blood drawn or whatever like that, like, that's nothing anymore. I can't even feel that anymore. But yeah, freaking, and basically every time they did the back dressing changes, it felt like somebody was ripping my skin off, and the area, because it was a surgery, it was already wicked sensitive and irritated. So on top of that, so it basically felt like every time they did the back dressing changes, my spine was being ripped out, and it sucked. They, you know, I give the nurses and everybody, you know, obviously my friends and family, you know, everybody that supported me, you know, I appreciate all the love and support, helped me go through that. But honestly, there's nothing they could have done to mask how bad the pain was. Like, there's no way of getting around it. They knew it, though. They knew I had to do it. And, I mean, because of that happening now, or because of that happening then, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I'd probably be dead. So, anyway, in the hospital, that's what was happening, and I was fighting it, and then it was kind of like, just like, God put his hand down, and he was just like, not my time. Because of that, you know, a miracle appeared, and because of all this, I definitely believe in miracles. You know, I've always believed in God. I was raised on Christianity. You know, my dad's an ordained minister, so I believe in miracles. I believe in God and everything, so I do believe I was blessed with a miracle, and it wasn't my time to go, and doctors came in and pretty much said to me and my family, this isn't exact words, but they pretty much said, we don't know what happened, but the infection is pretty much gone, dormant. Like, it's there, but it's like not really. And we didn't know what to do or say, except for, of course, just be happy and celebrate, because we had no idea, like, all of a sudden it was just going away. I won the battle, so, and of course, shortly after that, I started feeling much better, you know, and, you know, this or that, and then I was able to go home, and now I was still doing the back dressing changes when I got home, and I was still bedridden. You know, I'd get in a chair and everything, but I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't get out of the bed into a chair without a Hoyer lift. I think that's what those are called, or how it's pronounced. But anyway, I'd get out of bed like twice a day probably. And then, yeah. And the back dressing changes, even though I was home now, they never got better. They were always horrible. Except for the tail end of it, where my skin wasn't open anymore, and it was just scarring up now. It wasn't as bad, but it was still pretty painful, because, yeah, ripping bandage off of skin never feels great. And, yeah, I slowly healed from that. But anyway, make a long story short, even though I pretty much cut it pretty well, considering, I looked at a lot of detail. I cut this up pretty good, in my opinion, but, there's a lot more to the story, a lot more. If you want more of the story, please let me know, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But anyway, because of all that, and the backstressing changes, this is what I was left with. So, at the top of my neck is where it's very thin tissue, like very thin scar tissue, and there's a bump on the top of my neck, and I don't know if you guys were able to notice that, but that is actually not my spine, but that's the bump is actually the tip of one of the rods that are now supporting, the new rod that's supporting my spine. That's how thin the tissue is at the top of my neck, so it's super risky. I'm technically supposed to be getting skin grafting done, but it's super risky, especially with the MRSA. And the doctor even told me if I were to get it, it's as risky as like poking a snake. And so I'm super hesitant about it. That's why I haven't done it yet. And then my scar goes all the way down to like basically my butt crack. But down there it's like the way a scar should be. It's fine. And then, yeah, but like where my shoulder blades are and then up, it's way thin and it's like super risky and dangerous. And it's the only reason why my parents and whatnot, they get nervous when they go out skating, because they know that if I hit that part of my body pretty hard, it's not a good deal. It's not a good thing at all. But I mean, it is what it is. I do try my best to obviously keep out of danger with that kind of stuff. But yeah, and the doctors told me that I was never gonna walk again, or at least not normal. Well, like, you know, they didn't think I was gonna walk, let's just say that. And, you know, they thought I was gonna have all these other problems, and, I basically showed them wrong. And, you know, appreciate anybody who's really called me inspiring story or anything like that. But in my head, I'm just trying to get over the barriers that life puts in front of me, because it's hard for me to say no to something, especially if I want something. And, yeah, so when the doctors told me I couldn't walk, I wanted to pretty much show them how bad they were wrong. And that's what I did. So, yeah, there's a lot more to that story. Yeah, I really tried to cut it up, or I really tried to fit it as much as I could, so it wasn't dragging out too much. I feel like I did a really good job. And, yeah, I probably did miss some shit. And, of course, I couldn't find my x-ray picture, so I'll try to find that and post that in a different video. But, yeah, that's it. That's why my back is the way it is, and everything else. So thanks for watching. Now, let me know what other stories you might want to hear or anything else, questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new for this content. Click like if you enjoyed, let me know. And you'll see me in the next one. So peace out, guys. Stay awesome.